Abercrombie, ANF in the retail sector. Stock was up, now still holding a 4% gain here, a 449% surge in quarterly profit. Any questions as to why the stock has been, rallying so strongly? Earnings growth just really impressive. Like I said, bottom line up 449% year over year. Revenue growth accelerates again, up 22% to just over 1 billion. Same store sales growth up 21%. So really nice results from Abercrombie.
One stock today, and I'm seeing it in the Q&A, that is in retail and is having a great reaction to earnings and does have a very strong fundamental story here, is Abercrombie. I'm in it. I'm still in it. Had a double in it previously. It wasn't the cutest base, but their clothes are cute. But I got back in this one around the 50-day line with a bigger position than I had previously. So I clearly am loving the reaction today. Thanks, Webby. And thanks everyone in the Q&A. So
go out to the weekly on this
one
and talk about your process for when you originally bought that first move, and what you did along the way. Like, was it a buy and sit and keep that cushion, or did you massage the position size along the way, or how did you trade this one? Because frankly, I don't know anyone else who's kicked that much butt in a stock recently. Like, I'm thoroughly impressed, and I want to know what was going on through your mind.
Yeah. Well, headed into the trade, I saw an amazing relative strength line, huge quarterly numbers. So I think it was basically an early entry on a spirit of an ascending base that I saw. I think it was a bounce off of the 21-day line. And what made this such an easy hold is that it held the 10-week line the whole way. So I wish I would have added to it more, but because it never really pulled back to the 10-week, it didn't give me a really good chance to add more. So I really just sat with it, but I never trimmed it until I did. I told myself, I'm going to hold, I have such a big cushion, I'm going to hold through this base. But something that I am thinking of now that Justin has brought up before, he's like, but in the heat of the moment, and you're looking at managing your entire portfolio and putting it in context of that, feeling like you need to lighten up. So I did opt to do that. But I got back in as quickly as I could find a good entry with a retake of the 10 weeks.
Can you go to the daily and show us where you were starting to get back in?
I was starting to get back in on 429.
Wow.
And so first chance I could.
So that was a retake of the 50 you were using as a.
I was using a retake of the 50s. So on the aggressive side, but that's just how much I believed in the fundamental story. And it was a great trade for me previously. So I had, that win behind me with this one. So a little bit of turbulence on the way up, but I was going to use a staggered stop with the previous day's lows to get out, give myself a little bit more room with this one, but just because I felt like it was in its own category in retail with that great combination of stellar technical action and fundamentals, even though, again, admittedly, it wasn't a pretty looking base on the left side, but I was aggressive in getting back in with that 50-day retake.
So now that you're back in it and you're large in it, what is your game plan for your exit strategy, as well as if you want to add to it at some point?
Yeah, right. So I would consider myself a position trader, but I like using early entries versus waiting for breakout. So I really want to sit with this one unless it just is showing really poor action at these levels. But if it can just have a pretty decent close today, hold up, let those moving averages catch up, I would potentially add maybe off of a bounce off of the 21-day line, but who knows, maybe it'll do have a 3 weeks tight or a shelf or something. And it depends on what the overall market is doing as well, right? In terms of me adding, my ideal ad spot would be a gentle pullback and bounce off of the 10-week line. But we'll have to see if that happens. I may use more of an aggressive ad
Hey,
pattern.
Andy, could you do a mild pullback to the 10-week line for Allie?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to order that,
Zuck
please.
Zuck is putting some work in, and they're combining it with Domino's. They've got that ordered for you. So 30 minutes or less, and you'll get that. I just think
Sounds good.
that was such an impressive trade and not a lucky trade. There are lucky trades that are unlucky. Like you buy something, you don't know some news event is coming out and it gaps down on you, or you buy something and it gets bought out. Those are luck, and that works itself out over time. But that's why I wanted you to walk through what you did, because it was highly intelligent, and most importantly, what you have that the thing that most of us struggle with, I struggle with, is that holding on to their darn winner, letting it bake.
Made it easy.
Doing the whole JL thing of, it's your sitting.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
excellent job. Really commend you. Awesome. We could all learn from you.
Well, we can all learn from each other. And I did add to it a couple times. So when it cleared the high of the day that I got in, and this little sideways area, that was my last add. So I did pyramid into this one. So we'll see what happens from here. But hopefully some other folks out there have been watching Abercrombie as well.